as we do near 20 years since Hurricane Katrina changed the city as we know it. There are a lot of documentaries that are coming out to tell the story of the area's recovery. One of those films is called Hope in High Water, a people's recovery 20 years after Hurricane Katrina. One of those featured in that documentary is Miss Jonshell Johnson. She joins us now with more. You may recognize you, ma'am, the person behind the Grow Dat Farm over at City Park. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, I'm the education coordinator at Grow Dat Youth Farm, and I'm 27, and I was 7 when Hurricane Katrina hit.
So with that, we were talking during the break, and I asked you, while it's wonderful to be featured and have your story told, on the other end, it's a lot to share the story again 20 years later when you were 7. But you say that there's some light in sharing that perspective.
Yeah, so like what we're doing at the farm is we're trying to make sure that we're like stewarding the land and like giving back and doing this therapy that I feel is like so like nice to like be in the soil and to grow plants and like to see things that also take time to grow. And like thinking that like 20 years ago when I was 7 years old versus like now where I'm like a adult, I have my own kids, one who is the same age that I was when Katrina hit. And like thinking of like when home is destroyed, what do you do? Especially in a situation where we did leave and come back. And then when we came back, it wasn't the same city that I recognized. And then being able to like build from that. So being in the soil, being at the farm, being with teenagers who at 20 years later haven't experienced Hurricane Katrina as such a core memory. Is like the reason why like I love to talk to them about like what future they want to see, because it wasn't destroyed after Hurricane Katrina.
Right, it was definitely not destroyed, and many of us are still here to tell you that it wasn't destroyed. Tell us about the story that you share in the film.
Yeah, so every day is a new like opportunity for me to be able to work with teenagers at Grow Dat Youth Farm to be able to share that they are valuable and like they have input into what the city could look like. So in the film, I'm talking about how like my family was like severely affected by Hurricane Katrina, and like coming back was very, there's just such a big difference in between like what was here versus what's here now and what actually serves the people. So like what are the opportunities like now that we have to like have housing, have healthcare, have like these comforts that everybody should have. And being in a city that it feels like since Katrina has happened, everybody has taken a little piece. It's been bought here and bought there and not invested in. And when I look at the neighborhoods and like how they've shifted and who is in these neighborhoods and like who was there before, what generations of family were in those houses before they were modernized, right? Is something that means a lot to me as far as like at least starting with a conversation. So at Grow Dat Youth Farm, we're trying to start a conversation about what we see right now as far as an intense charter school system, and all of the other things that weren't here before Katrina. That Katrina presented this big gap in opportunity for like folks to come while people were in literal like panic, were like missing home so much. I lived in 2 states outside of Hurricane Katrina, well, right after, and like going to school and being called a refugee and being the darkest person in a lot of my circles, having a particular accent that people didn't recognize, was something that like is like such a part of my identity now. And so I want my sons to be proud of being from New Orleans. I want my sons to have an education that's worth it, and I want to like continue to embrace a city that is worth investing in instead of just being bought out.
And quite literally, ma'am, from the ground, you show us every day just how important it is to push for that and the success that you have. So we do thank you for your continued work here.
Thank you.
And with that, the free premiere event, it is happening this Saturday over at the Ashe Cultural Arts Center on Aretha Castle Haley Boulevard from 5 until 8. You do, though, have to RSVP if you want to go see such a powerful story. So to do that, we've got a link for you on our website, wwltv.com. Ma'am, again, thank you for coming in.
All right, my pleasure.
Yes, indeed.